Well, it's the third week of LCS with coverage brought to you by Alienware. We're here on the second day. I'm joined right now by Peter Dunn from Evil Geniuses, who is now officially in the United States in Los Angeles, I believe. Yes?
Yep, just arrived. It's really good to be here. Trying to sit in on reviews with large amounts of ping and lag between communications has been really horrendous. So even if I'm not there in person, it's been finally glad to just be able to communicate with people. So that's
Yeah, I
definitely
mean, how? So when I talked to some of the players, or the sense that I got was that it didn't really feel like you were able to really start the full head coach position and the way that it should be. It sounds like you're also expressing you had some issues. So how what maybe percentage of reduced capacity were you at, or were you really like were for a while were those duties passed off to other coaches?
They were passed off to other coaches. It's been really rough, to be honest. Connor, who's known as Artemis, has been running reviews. We tried a system where I would run reviews from Europe, but the lag was too much. It wasn't functioning. So what I've been doing is, when the games have been going on, I've been leaving notes and communicating through Discord with the other coaches, and I've been able to do one-to-one coaching with several of our players, but I haven't been leading reviews or anything. So I'm really, really glad to be here finally. And even though I'm not there with the players, I've been able to contribute a lot more in the past 2 days since I've arrived. So that's been good.
Very good. Well, so maybe we can talk a little bit about this, because hilariously, you and Broxa both getting to the LCS on the same time. So I don't know if I'm sure you're not familiar with his situation exactly, but what were the issues that were holding you up?
I mean, it's just simply been a case of the deteriorating COVID situation in the UK. I mean, every single day when it looked like I was going to be able to get my new visa appointment, a new strain, the South African strain, or originally it was the UK strain, would come along, and that would mess everything up. And my process was delayed versus I think many people's, because of the Brexit situation as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I mean, EG have been trying for 2.5 months. It's just finally I'm just finally glad that it's all over now. So that's good.
Very good. Well, okay. What is your assessment now that you've arrived? 'Cause, I mean, obviously you've been tracking the team and all that stuff, but like, where is the team? What are the issues? I don't know. Maybe you can talk a little bit about your perspective showing up now. I'm thinking it's not as bad as that animation from Community of the guy walking in with the pizzas and the fire and everything like that. But I'm curious what your take is.
I mean, what I will say is that I think we had a talk before the start of the season where I said, I don't promise whether we're going to win all our games or lose all of our games, but I promise it will be exciting. And definitely watching the two 1v1 tower dives that Jizuke did against Dignitas last week were definitely exciting. I'm not going to comment about how good those plays were. But look, EG are a team that play a lot on emotion, right? A lot of our players are people that are momentum players, and I think in lock-in, one of the things which wasn't shown so much is there were lots of technical issues in our series against Team Liquid, which meant that the players were never able to really build up their momentum, right? Obviously there's a chance when I can't even remember what the qualifying tournament for MSI is called,
the spring final something. Yeah. When the spring playoffs or whatever. Yeah, I forget what they're calling it now, but
yeah, the spring finals or the end of year qualifications for Worlds, we have to fix that, right? Like, I mean, we had a best of 5 where there were 9 pauses over the first 1.5 games, and we just couldn't get ourselves in the right mental frame of mind. So that series I think didn't show our real ability. But I think we have a slight issue where there are teams that we respect a lot and we try really, really hard for. Team Liquid obviously because of Impact's old team, Cloud9 obviously because of various reasons, and I think we have to be more disciplined in our kind of preparation, and more. Well, respectful sounds like such a bad word. More focus. I'm not going to say we're disrespecting like some of the less less favored teams, because I think that's we're not consistent enough to disrespect somebody. But I think it's more a case of we just need to have that consistency,
Yeah.
and hopefully we can build that over the next 3 weeks.
All right. Let's talk import stuff. You are a person who I know is very interested in developing talent. We've referenced already the tweets that you have made previously about supporting players that are in the amateur and academy system. I am curious, knowing that you have a paycheck that comes from an organization who seems to be in favor of this. What is your take on all this conversation? What do you think? I mean, you've coached in so many different regions, so you're a great person to talk to. Yeah.
I mean, to be clear, that this kind of thing is something that I push very, very aggressively in Brazil. When I was working back in Brazil on INTZ, were the strongest team in Brazil at the time, and they realized that in order to be able to progress, they had to strengthen their region in order that they could have the practice that they needed to go to international events and improve. And in my final year on INTZ, they let me talk with some of the other coaches on the other teams, talk with some of the other players, and work with them. And that's something that I pushed extremely hard for before I signed my second year on INTZ. So this is something that I've done in Brazil before. It's something that wasn't really required in Europe.
Sorry, when you say this is something I've done, what are you referencing specifically?
Okay, so I agree that. So to be 100% clear, I'm not privy to the conversations which are going on behind the scenes. I don't know exactly what's been going on in the owners' conferences. I don't.
None of us do, Peter. Don't worry.
I don't know what or who is pushing for what. Okay. What I can say is that as an individual coach, I believe that your potential for success at an international level is based on training and improving the region that you are in. And this doesn't just mean people from solo queue. It means building infrastructure. It means, working with coaches. It means, improving scouting, giving people a pathway to pro. Okay. And this is something, so I mentioned the Brazil situation because this is something that in Brazil, I was a huge champion for. And it's one of the things which I think is very, very important in NA and has to be developed in NA if NA wants to be successful on the international stage, right? I don't think it's enough that you can just bring in people from outside and expect them to fix everything, right? It's more about fixing things on the, not just at the LCS level, but everything below. Academy, amateur, providing a pathway to pro, improving solo queue, right? And this is one of the things it's when I was looking for a team, this is one of the things that EG pitched to me, and it was one of the reasons why I chose EG versus some of the other options that were available. I mean, in EG, firstly, obviously they have the academy team and they have the amateur team, but that's not something which is particularly special. But you can see the efforts that EG are making to improve the infrastructure on the collegiate level, right? They work. There's an open program where if you are in collegiate, EG will invite you to seminars, they will give you training, and they will give you support in order to improve your coaching career, right? They gave me special dispensation in the off season to do a series of 3 seminars to just give information out, right? Because this is something that EG as an organization understand. So what I would say is when often we don't necessarily see what's going on behind closed doors. But often when we're trying to work out the position when you're trying to work out how an organization feels about certain things, don't just look at what an organization says and don't just look at what people are promoting publicly. Look at the actions, right? Actions speak much louder than words. And all I will say is that I personally, as a coach, am somebody who believes that you need to build this infrastructure domestically. And I'm very glad that I'm part of an organization that shares these points of view. Right, and you can see this through what they're doing on the collegiate level. You can see it through what they're doing on amateur. You can see it, in fact, through the people they're hiring. People like Empire, people like Kelsey Moser. Right, these are people who really, really care about grassroots North American development, and who brought that interest into EG. Right. So that's all I can say. I mean, from my side, day to day, this is something that, as far as I'm concerned, seems to be the path forward. and I'm glad to be part of an organization which is doing those things.
So I understand if you can't speak further on this, but just to one thing that I have noticed, and I think a lot of the community has noticed as well, is like, so you cite EG's development and especially the stuff that they've done this year, kind of pointing to, hey, don't just look at the statements that people are making publicly, but also look at what we're doing here. I think one of the concerns that people have is like Cloud9 is also saying we've done more for Amateur and Academy than other people in the past. We've done all this stuff. We've got all this record of this. And Jack even says, like, I would not want to do this unless we were also putting more resources into development. Steve said something similar. It's tough because a lot of people look at that and say, okay, well, are you just saying these things? Are you just doing these things until you can get this unlocked, right? Because in a world where you are really committed to developing North American talent, you probably don't need a rule to leave that allows you to get 5 players from another region, right? And so I think that's part of this concern is like, yes, it is cool that EG is doing this stuff, but also when seemingly the entire ownership group wants to change that, it's like, well, can we trust this stuff, or does it even mean anything in a world where perhaps they're fighting for a rule to be lifted where 5 imports can come in?
Sure. I mean, I think that's a fair question to ask. What I would say, though, is that remember, when people talk about developing talent, there's many reasons that you can have for developing talent. You know, you can develop talent because you believe that this is how you want to improve your own team, right? You can develop talent because you think you can sell that talent to other teams, you know, and benefit in that way. You can develop talent. You can develop talent because you want to find people who haven't been recognized just on the support staff side, right? And promote them into positions and develop on them and invest in them long term, right? Or you can, you know, there's different reasons why people develop talent, right? And from my perspective, I have to be careful here because, again, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Sure, you're speaking from your perspective.
Yeah, from my perspective. From my perspective, you know, there is definitely there is a question to be asked, which is, what is the purpose of your talent development program, right? Why are you developing talent? And I think, without commenting on other organizations, because I don't know what those other orgs will say, if you ask the question to yourself as an outsider looking in, what is this org doing with their talent? Why are they developing talent? What's the purpose of this talent development? Then it begins to make a lot more sense why some people may have certain opinions on various topics, such as lifting of the import.
Consider the motivations, I guess, is perhaps what you're suggesting.
Consider the motivations, right? It's not enough to say I developed talent. It's a case of, okay, you developed talent. What did you do with it? And
well, what are we? So we don't. The verdict is out, kind of on AG then, right? Because this is a new program, and generally speaking, that you guys are doing. So there's a chance that Peter Dunn, you are here to help get a ton of buyouts sold for evil geniuses over the next couple of years.
I mean that's potential. That's potentially thing. Obviously, I'm gonna say no. I mean, like I think that we're looking to promote a lot of people within our organization, again, both on the playing side and on the support staff side. You know, it's not simply a case of players. It's also coaches. It's also support staff. And I think the jury has to be out on EG, right? You know, look at what EG does over the next year. Look at what we're doing now. Look at what we do in 12 months. Look at what we do in 24 months, and judge us on that basis, right? And not just judge EG, judge all organizations on that basis, and use that to inform your decisions, right? It's not, again, lots of people will say a lot of things in the public sphere. Actions are what really matters. Okay. And that's as far as I can go without stepping on the toes of other organizations, which I don't.
Sure, understood. Peter, it is great to have you in the LCS, because I know how much success that you have brought in another region. So I'm personally excited that you are in town here to help. Regardless, thank you so much for the interview. Anything you want to say to anybody else out there?
nothing out of the ordinary. Just thank you for the support of the fans that we've had in this season. I've been really grateful to everything that EG have to all the support that we received in the lock-in tournament. And very grateful that people recognize that this is a long-term project and are here in the long term with us. Okay, and just want to say thank you for the support. We read all of your messages, we acknowledge all of your messages, and we're very grateful for them. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much for the interview, Peter. Really appreciate it. And for everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things LCS right here on my YouTube channel. Hey, Alienware lets me say whatever I want in these. And so one of the things I've been talking about in my outros, just go hit up a pro player that you're a fan of or somebody in the space that does something cool and let them know that you appreciate them. Maybe just tweet at them or show up in their Twitch chat or say something on Instagram or whatever. That stuff goes a long way. And I can say something like this because Alienware gives me such free reign in my outros that I don't think that they'd have an issue with me kind of shouting this out. So if you want to check out their products, and they sponsor everything I do here, you can check out the link in the description. But again, check it out. Go do something cool on their site, and then go find a pro player or somebody in the space that you think is doing some cool stuff and let them know that you like what they do and give them a shout out.